Hi guys, so I'm here with a new video which is surprising because I really thought that this is going to take me another 6 or 10 months to make, but I managed to do it somehow. I became more inspired or something, I guess. So yes, I made another poll on Instagram for this video and I gave people four options again, and the most voted option was the moving abroad topic. So this is what am I going to talk about today. So I have my little thing here with what I want to talk about because I forget things and I don't want to forget. And I know that I won't be able to cover everything in this video, even though I think it's going to be a long video. So if you're not into that, just so you know. But I want to cover these things, and if you do have any other questions, just leave them below, and I will answer them in a future video if you're interested in that. But yeah, I have a couple of things here. So the first thing I want to talk about is why and when I moved to England. So I moved from Romania in 2015 on the 5th of November. I remember that because it's just like a day before my birthday. And I moved here because I wanted to study, but I didn't go to uni for 2 years actually after I came here. That's another story. If you want to hear about it, just let me know and I will make a video about it. So yeah, basically I didn't go to uni for 2 years, and my mother was already here for 1 year, so I already had like a basis here. So when I came, I lived in Chesham, which is like the end of one like underground line from London, but it's like its own town village thing. It's kind of weird. I don't understand this. it's it's really weird because it's London Underground, but then it goes outside London, but it's still London Underground, you know? It's weird. Anyway, I lived in Chesham. Chesham was shitty. I didn't like it. Maybe some people live there, maybe some people like it. I didn't. Uh, then I lived there for like 4 months or something. Then I moved to Sutton in Ashfield, which is somewhat around Nottingham, if that makes more sense to you guys. In Sutton in Ashfield is literally like a village, and it was also really shitty. It was really small. The crime rate was quite high, so that was kind of worrying. And I lived there for like a month or something, and then I moved to Mansfield. And at this point, like I was moving with the person I was with at the time, so yeah, we were kind of like together in this, but it was like a very complicated situation. So I moved to Mansfield where I lived for 1 year, and Mansfield was also like I always wanted to come to England and live in London or close to London. So I did try to enjoy other places, but honestly it was quite a shock for me. Like I didn't get used to living here for like 2 years. It was quite a pain for me. And I realized this is just a biased opinion, guys. So like don't take my word for like the reality of everyone, because this is just my reality. And my reality is not like the best case scenario of coming here. Like I know many people who came here and had a great experience from the start. It's not the case in my experience. Like I still don't have like an amazing situation, but I want to give you this version as well, the version of things that don't happen like perfectly from day one, you know. So that's why I'm telling you all of this. So yeah, I lived in Mansfield for a year. Then I got accepted into university, and I had to move because my university is in London. It's a Middlesex University, so I had to move and like be close. And so my mom moved to Bedford, where she started another job. And well, that was my best option at the moment. So I moved with her to Bedford, and it was quite a pain. I lived there for 2 years of my uni because I also had to do a foundation year. I'm now in the second year basically. So my foundation in my first year, I lived in Bedford, and it was really a pain in the ass because Bedford was like 2 hours away from my university by train. I had to take the train from Bedford to Hendon, which is the train station for my uni, and then from Hendon to either walk or take a bus. and it was just very draining to have like 4 hours of commuting a day. So that was really really annoying. And now I live in Luton, which is, it's weird because Luton is a city itself. It's quite a large city in my opinion, but some people consider it part of London, some don't. I really don't care honestly, but it's really close to London. Like for me to get to like central London, it takes like 30 minutes, which is really good. I mean, you can live in London, it will take you longer to get to the city center. So this is really great for me. But for my uni, because my uni is not in the center of London, it's, I don't know, cardinal points, but it's not the city center. It still takes me like an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and a half, maybe an hour if the train is like a direct train, because I usually have to change trains. But yeah, if it's a direct train, it's just 1 hour. So anyway, it's still better than 2 hours. So that's great that I'm still like not commuting for 4 hours a day. But anyway, moving on. I want to talk about pros and cons of living here. And again, this is from my perspective. These are pros and cons if you are a person who has like similar views as I do maybe, or shares some of the views that I do and all of that. So maybe some of the cons in my perspectives are also pros for you. So just keep that in mind. Don't roast me for it. I'm not trashing it for everyone. I'm just like talking about my experience. So some pros are recycling. I know it's like kind of specific, but in Romania, where I come from, recycling is not a thing. Well, it is, it exists, but it's not like you don't recycle stuff in your own home. You just have like one bin and you throw everything in there, and then you just throw it in the like big bins in your house or your apartment block and whatever. So we don't really do recycling, and here you do recycle, which is something that I'm interested in. Sometimes it is annoying because you have to have multiple bins, and just like keep in mind that you do have to put this there and this there, but it's great that it happens. So recycling is something that I was really happy about. So this is a pro in my opinion. Another pro that I really like about England is the nature. The nature is amazing here. And I think it's mainly because it rains all the time, so the soil is always damp, so everything just grows like all the time. My grass in my garden was green the entire year. Like there wasn't any days in which my grass wasn't green or growing, which is annoying to be honest. If you have a garden and you have to cut the grass all the time, it's annoying. But for like forests and natural parks and all of that, it's pretty dope. Like I really like the nature. If you like to cycle, if you like to go on really long walks in nature, or I don't know, go camping, even though it's really cold for camping, but if you're into that, it's really cool. I like the nature here, is really dope. Another thing that's really cool, I think this is more focused on like London, it's art, because London is, I think, is like in top 10 cities in the world for art, which is really cool. Again, you've got everything. Doesn't matter what kind of artist you are or what kind of art you like, you'll find it in London at least. So that is really cool. Like exhibitions, you have the London Fashion Week, which is so great. So you have graphic design, you have illustration, you have typography, you have writing, you have music, you have all of these amazing things that you can attend like literally every week if you have the resources you want to do that. So that's awesome. The diversity is another pro that I really love here. I met people from literally everywhere in the world, and this is amazing from more perspectives. Like one of the reasons for why I love this diversity is because I like to try new things in terms of food. So it's really cool to meet these people from other countries and learn about a recipe that's like, it sounds so good, and otherwise maybe I wouldn't like think about it myself, to like look it up, like, oh, I want Polish recipes or whatever. So this is really great that you have the opportunity to try this food, and not just like recipes, but because of this diversity, there are so many restaurants and fast foods from all cuisines all over the world. So this is great, and many of the fast foods are really cheap as well. So this is amazing. Like in Bedford, there was an Indian fast food, and I'm not a big fan of Indian food just because I'm not into like really spicy food. But their burgers were so good. They made like a vegetable like Indian patty that was so fucking good. I loved that shit. And like for a menu, like with a burger and fries and a drink, it was like £3, which is like dope, you know. So these kind of things are really amazing. Studies. A lot of people come here for studying, obviously. Like, London is renowned for having so many great universities, like, renowned in the entire world and shit. Like, the best fashion university in the world is in London. I didn't want to go there, I'll be honest, because it's just a fashion design university, and I really wanted to have the experience of meeting people who come from different courses as well, and not be stuck just in that fashion world. It's just something that I'm interested in. Maybe you're interested in being just into the fashion world, but I wanted to meet people from all sort of like backgrounds and courses and shit, because besides fashion, I also do graphic design and illustration, so this was really important for me. So yeah, the studies here are, well, high quality depending on the university. Obviously, not all universities are great, but many of them are. And even if the university or the course you're going to is not that great in terms of teaching, it is sad to say this, but you will still get a diploma that will be very important in many places. So another thing that I really love, it's the festivals. They have so many festivals in the UK, all music genres. I don't think there is a music genre that is not covered by a festival in the UK, which is really cool if you want to go to festivals. And I have been to one festival myself. I've been to Download Festival in 2019. No, yes, 2019 or 18. I can't remember, honestly. But yeah, and there are many other pros, I guess. Oh, and the humor. I really like the English humor. It's like dry, and I just love it. It's so funny. I really love this, and it's like the diversity of places as well. Like there are so many coffee shops and bars and just like buildings that look so interesting. And well, cons. There are a couple of cons for me, from my perspective again. Like for example, the weather. I really do hate this weather. It's awful. I'm a warm person. I love the sun. I want to be in the sun all the time. If I can have like 25 degrees Celsius every single day at least, that'll be amazing. I will be so satisfied with that. Like, I can handle 40 degrees Celsius. It's no problem for me, that's fine. And the weather, and when you say the weather, most people think that you're talking about the rain, because England is famous for the rain, obviously. But my opinion is that the rain is not the worst, and the worst is actually the wind. The wind is awful. It is awful. It's windy every single day. I don't remember having 10 days in one year when it wasn't windy, like at all. Most cases, like during the summer, it's great that it's windy, because there's maybe like a week in which it gets really hot for people here, so they do enjoy the wind, and I'm fine. The summer breeze, it's okay, but the second it starts getting colder, it's just awful. I hate it so much. I hate the weather. I'm sorry, guys, but I do hate this weather. So, but if you like rain, and if you like wind, and if you're not bothered by cold, and oh yeah, it's also cold all the time. Like the summer is barely existent. It is happening for like a month and a half. I would say it's like a proper summer for England. but it's like for me, I need summer every day of my life. So the weather is really something that I'm not happy about. Another thing, it is very expensive. Like, guys, it is really, really expensive. Obviously, if you're going to live in a small town, in a village, you live close to your job or you work from home, or I know you're making a lot of money, then this is not going to be an issue for you. But if you live in London or around it, and if you're not living close to your job, or your job is not highly paid, or you're just like a middle class, lower class, this is going to be really bad for you. I don't have this like amazing job. I don't work from home. I mean, I do some things from home, but it's rarely that I get like money from it. It's complicated. Again, I'll make another video if you want. But yeah, I have a shitty job. I cannot find like a great job and like make it worth it and all of that. So everything is so expensive. Like besides London, transport in London is cheap. It's okay because the London transport belongs to the government. So the prices are decent. But the second you go outside London, the transport is so expensive because all England transport besides London is privatized. Privatized? I hope I said that right. It's privatized, and so it is really expensive. Like, I'll give you an example. From where I live now to my university, taking the bus as well, it costs me £16 a day. £16 just to get to uni for one day, and I have to go multiple days to uni. Well, not now because coronavirus, but usually I have to pay £16 a day, and this is with a discount card because you can have this card for the Thameslink Railways. That's £30 per year, and it gives you like a 33% discount, I think. So it's quite a big discount, but it's still like £16 a day, guys. That's a lot. So like money is a big issue for me, and also rent. It's really expensive. Like a single room in a shared house in London will cost you from £600 a month. From I have rarely ever seen rooms that will cost under £600, and they're usually tiny rooms, or they're in a really bad house, or in a really bad neighborhood, or far away neighborhood, which again, you don't want that if you live in London usually. So this is really expensive, and not just rooms but houses as well. Like, to find a house that we live in, we love this house, it was really nice, but to find a decent rent and a house that looks nice as well, we had to see around 30 houses, and I'm not exaggerating, and that was very time consuming and stressing. And so just keep that in mind. And also, prices in London for other things are quite high. Like, if you want to get a pint of beer, that will cost you around £5, maybe more depending on the beer. Like £5, I think it's like the cheapest kind of beer or whatever, but obviously from then it goes up. And to me, that is expensive. Maybe it is not for you, but it is for me. So that's a thing. Also, distances. This is something coming more from like someone who's coming from a smaller country, I guess. I'm not sure, but I really don't enjoy having to travel, I don't know, for a long time between a place and another, and it's you really waste a lot of time if you have to go from a place to another. Even if you live in London, it's not like from my place to London. I'm not including that because I know that I live outside and blah blah blah. But if you live in London and you have to go places, it will usually take you around half an hour. It's rarely that you'll have to go somewhere that's really close to your house. And this is from all of my classmates that live in London, and from friends that I have that live in London, and they have to go through this. So you know, if you don't like this stuff, it's really annoying. And the fact that during the day London is very, very crowded, the underground is hell. It's crowded as fuck. I don't mind it, but just keep this in mind. It is very crowded. And a very particular thing about England, or maybe it is happening in other places as well, but what I have noticed, and something that it I think this is the hardest thing I had to get used to by coming here, is the fact that after 5 or 6 o'clock everything is dead. Like, there are shops open, there are people on the street, but it's just different. But from morning to like 5 or 6 o'clock, like the cities, the city centers, the streets, everywhere, everything is busy. There's a lot of people outside and all of that. But after 5 or 6, the cities become dead, and it's the same in London. Maybe it's like later because people get off from work 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe. So it's like a bit later on. But during the week, after maybe 8 p.m., everything is dead. Everything is like dead, even like London city center. And this is something I've observed myself many times, and maybe some people won't agree, but at least in my perspective, comparing to Romania, where everything, I come from Bucharest, so it's different in different cities. But in Bucharest, everything is hectic at all times. Like, here it is very common to go to the club or pub or whatever on Fridays and Saturdays. There are obviously some other things happening during the week, but it's very, very like common for people to go out partying Friday and Saturday. In Romania, in Bucharest, people go to party every single day. We have clubs that are specifically open during the week and not open during the weekend. So this is very a very specific thing, I guess, compared to like where I come from. But if you're coming from a place who is similar to this and you like it there being like this, then you will also like it here. But for me, it's like really daunting. Like, I feel like I live in an abandoned place. Well, now I kind of got used to it, but it's still like I want that hectic feeling, you know? Another thing is the lack of help for students, for European students to be more precisely. Because, well, I'll make another video explaining this more, but basically, pretty much all students here get a loan from student finance, which is the government basically, and student finance pays their tuition fees for university. And home students, so students from England, they can also apply for a maintenance loan or for a maintenance grant, which is money that you get for your own personal life, for living. It's not just for the courses. And as international or other European students, you cannot do that. That is not offered to you. And fair enough, some universities might have scholarships or bursaries for, I don't know, excellence in studies or sports scholarships, but this is not something every student can get. But this is not helping. Like, there are many students who are struggling, like me, with money, and it's very hard to like go through everything, and we cannot really get any help. And many of my classmates, they do get money from their parents. They live in like rented accommodation, but they do get money from parents, so they don't really have to worry about any of this. But I don't really get a lot of help. So for me, I live with my mother, but she's not the kind of parent who just makes a fuck ton of money and just gives it to me. So you know, this is really annoying if you don't have like a strong financial support, if you don't have a great job, or if you don't have parents who can really, really support you. And I think the last con for today, because I can't remember more, because obviously there will be more pros and cons, but another thing is, maybe it is a con, maybe it is a pro. This is quite like in the middle. It's not really a con and it's not really a pro. Is the fact that England is very competitive. Like, people here are very competitive. This is like a thing they have to learn from I know, from being really young kids. And so you feel pressured everywhere you work, everywhere you go, like in university, in school, in at job, in everything you do. Usually you feel very pressured to be competitive with others, and for some people this is great. That's why I'm saying that this is maybe a pro for some and a con for others, because for some people this will make them be the best version of themselves and do the best they can and be very very productive and create amazing things. But for some other people this is stressing. For me this is really stressing. I love to work in my own pace, and I don't like to constantly having to compare myself with others in my field. I have to do things in my own way, and I don't see the point of comparing myself with others and having to outgrow them in whatever way it is like settled for me. And obviously this is happening in jobs, but even if it is a competitive job, this the meaning of what is competitive changes from a country to another. So maybe if what is competitive for me in Romania, it's not, or not in Romania, but even like for example Spain. Spain is a very relaxed country, so like being competitive there is not the same as being competitive here. Here is just really you have to be on top of your game all the time. So this is, you know, something to keep in mind. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. Again, yeah, so I guess this is for today, guys. I realized that this is a really long video already. If you liked it, give it a like, give it a share, subscribe, and hit that bell button. And if you have any questions, suggestions, or just something you want to say to me, leave a comment down below. Or if you want to pick the subject for my next video, then just head to my Instagram, where I will post a poll regarding the subject for my next video. And I hope that I will keep doing this on a regular basis and not after 6 months. So yeah, thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.